Rebecca, I saw a couple people in the chat. I don't know if you wanted to like talk about, because you mentioned your recent, change to your
Sure
podcast, because I know people are going to be asking about it, and if you want to briefly like explain for the people that are curious.
Do you guys want the tea?
Yes.
Should I spill the tea?
Yes.
Extra hot, baby.
I don't have a teacup. I have one of these.
We want the pump. Just
so has anybody ever been in like a relationship forever that they just kind of let die because nobody could bring up how they were going to break up? Like you've been together for I was doing this podcast for like 9 years.
That's forever in podcast time.
It's forever. But it started falling apart 4 years ago. So I'll tell the story really quick because I'm sure nobody really gives a shit about this, and all the tea has already been dished.
I'm riveted already. So please
go on. 4 years ago, my podcast co-host was engaged to this chick, and I had just had a baby who was a month early, and she had really bad jaundice. So like, she was yellow, and they put her under a bilirubin blanket. But when I finally got her home, and I only missed one show for that, when I finally got her home, they were like, you have to cluster feed her. You need to feed her every half an hour so that she can poop out the bilirubin. And I was like, okay. And so my husband was out of town for a week, and she wasn't taking a bottle, so my parents couldn't watch her. And this is like 2 weeks before her due date, or a week before her due date, something like that. So she wasn't even supposed to be born yet, and I'm trying to do the podcast. And so I messaged my podcast co-host, and I'm like, can I just turn my camera off and breastfeed her? She'll just fall asleep. And he's like, listen, my fiance thinks that is an inappropriate thing, and it should not be part of our relationship. So he made me leave the podcast for 10 minutes every 30 minutes to like go out there and feed my baby. And so I told him that, this is.
So you were still turning your camera off?
So wait, you couldn't have your camera
doing the exact same thing, just in a different room instead of right there.
You couldn't have your camera off and still talk?
Yeah, he's like, I don't want noise disturbances, and she thinks it's like sexually inappropriate or something. And so I was furious.
It's literally
a woman said that.
His
do you know
fiance.
for a fact? Do you know for a fact he wasn't just blaming the fiance?
I don't know.
Opinions. Okay.
But it doesn't seem like something he would do. Anyway, so after that, I told them, like, this is anti-family. We're supposed to be pro-family. This is an anti-family thing. And he made me formally apologize to his fiance. And I did it.
Formally how?
He's like to
with
go
a quill and like a piece of parchment.
No, I mean, I had to like write out like, I am sorry to your blah 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 for whatever.
Why is she a part of the podcast? If she
no, he's like, she doesn't have any creative control, but you know how it goes.
She's
so after that, it was like
penis control.
Oh my God, I know it was so bad. So after that, the relationship was so damaged because I in my mind I'm like, if it ever gets to this boiling point again, I'm not apologizing. So I was making half the money that was always the agreement, which wasn't that much. I think I was making like $35,000 a year, something like that. Like for podcasting, I'm not making Tim Pool, fuck you, walking around money. But hourly it was great. But after that, like I was so pissed off all the time, and I'm like, now I know who runs the show here. And then a few times, behind the scenes, he would get me on a Zoom call and be like, you need to tone it down. You can't be so racist. Like, I have this black physician neighbor. I don't want her seeing this and thinking that,
Oh, that's when you should have left.
I should have left after the breastfeeding thing, right?
Wait,
so
I can't be racist.
I know. And so I was just getting tone policed, and I didn't care about daily news as much because I'm like, we're doing this Trump thing again, like it's 2016. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? And so I'm like listening to all these stupid segments that we've been doing for almost a decade. And I'm like, he's like, well, you didn't bring any content to the show. I'm like, you want me to bring like?
Well, you think I'm a racist, so why would I bring any? Yeah. What do you mean? Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm appropriately racist, I think.
Oh,
that's fine.
Thanks. He knows, and it's just.
So after this foot thing happened, and I was 20 minutes late, I was calling him like 2 hours before the show and messaging him. He just never answered me, and then I was like, well, I guess I'll just hop in the Discord whenever I get there. And then I get in there, and he doesn't let me in, and then he just makes me wait for like 30 or 40 minutes. And then after the show, he's like, you handled this so badly, like, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about this later, whatever. So we talk about it later, and he comes to me and he's like, if I'm going to be doing a show with you again, I need you to take a pay cut to 60-40. I need you to be more engaged. And then I was like, well, can I do half the topics? And he's like, no, you can't be trusted. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then he was like, okay, well, don't say anything until I stream on Sunday. And I was like, but I just want to put out a statement. Like, I don't want to do a stream talking about this with everybody. I think it's inappropriate. I'm going to blurt out things about your wife. Like, I don't want to be in this situation, you know? And he's like, no, but don't put out a statement. And then he said, but you are not to appear in my live chat when I'm doing the stream.
Oh, so
and I'm like,
watch his show.
And so, well, I can't say anything to the live chat to defend myself. And so as soon as he said that, I just posted like a pretty neutral statement on Twitter. And then on Sunday, he posted a 4-hour stream where he just like shits on me, saying I'm wage gapping. He took calls where people were calling me like a filthy cunt and like all this crazy stuff, like the worst possible stuff you can imagine. 4 hours.
You look like the cleanest person I've ever met. Number one, and cunt, please.
It was
like
so bad. Like
I
couldn't believe it. You know, and it wasn't about the money, because if you're taking a pay cut from 35 to 28 grand and you're not the primary breadwinner in your house, how much is your life really going to change? Honestly, if he had been like, listen, I took this job at Tenet, I was taking some Russian money accidentally, I bought $1 million house. That's what he did at the time. He's like, I'm having hard times financially. I would have been like, okay, I honestly would have considered working for free at that point. I'd be like, okay, but that's not how it came to me. He's like, you're going to do this and this or blah, blah, blah. Like, it's this ultimatum shit. And then after the thing with the breastfeeding, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, if he ever wants me to apologize to him for something ever again. And then he went on the stream talking about like how I'm so neurotic and my foot wasn't a big deal. And so it was just so stupid. I'm like, it was so dumb. I'm like, why couldn't you just post a statement? Just post a statement.
Why don't you shit on me for 4 hours?
Here's your statement. When I first read this, I just was like, oh, it just sounds like you grew apart and you did not enjoy covering the same topics that he did.
Yeah.
Wow. That's horrid.
Yeah, it was really bad. I'm like so shocked with how he handled it.
Not-
Honestly, when I put this statement out, I thought he was just going to put a statement out, and then. But I don't know. Tenet really fucked those people over. So I think that everybody kind of has to post hoc rationalize what a bad decision it was and that they're hurting financially. But if he would have just come to me as a friend and been like, I'm having financial problems, I would have been like, yeah, of course I will take a pay
He was
cut.
involved with Tenet?
Yeah, he was commentator 6. So he got
I didn't know that.
Contract for like $144,000 and then immediately started making major financial decisions based on it. And then I think when Tenet fell apart, because they didn't back pay him for like several months of work, I think they still owe him, which he's never going to get, like $40,000, something like that.
Whoa.
Oh no.
So I'm sure that he was hurting financially, but that's not how he came to me. Like, he's like, you're going to do X, Y, and Z if you want to continue the podcast with me. And I was like,
you must publicly apologize to me. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, with the breastfeeding thing, I had to privately apologize, but he's like, he needed a formal apology, you know.
Ew.
And I still worked for 4 years after that. But you know, I love the community and I still like doing the show. It's just the daily news format, I think, has kind of petered out a little bit. It's like, who wants to listen to this? Don't you feel like we're doing the same thing that we've been doing?
Yes.
For 10 years. It's like every story is some iteration of something that I read in 2016.
That's the definition of insanity.
It's insane.
Well,
it's insane.
Now during the election so close, so it's going to feel repetitive.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I don't know. I mean, is Trump really going to change that much this time around? People are sick of the doomerism, but I'm not. 2016 was a totally different election. There was different energy. There was a different kind of hope. And I want to be realistic about the situation we're in. Like,
I mean,
it's not looking great.
The color of the woman that he's running against slightly changed. But
that's true.
Slightly.
Only slightly, though.
No hot sauce in there first, though.
Yeah.
Just a splash of coffee in that milk.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are probably very much broken up, and are there hard feelings? Like, would you do collabs with him again, or how?
Never, absolutely under no circumstance would I ever do that. No.
Ever speak to him again? Probably.
No,
I mean,
no,
he
never,
sounds horrible. I mean, I had such a compared to your story, mine is super minor. And like, I thought it was the end of the world. I basically had like this guy managing my YouTube channel, and he stole like the tiny amount of money that I made, and like broke it off with me, and then contacted everybody that I worked with and my mother, like literally.
Why?
Mother. Just saying like,
Mom.
Hi, Lauren's mom. I would like to tell you something about your daughter. Get out.
Would your mom, do you have the kind of relationship where that would be useful information to her or something?
She's an attorney. And so I was like, hey, like, so he thought of her as like my attorney as well. Like if there was like, I'm going to threaten her with a lawsuit, like I might as well contact like her attorney. And so he like contacted my mom. He contacted Nick Ricada, who I was working with at the time.
What?
He contacted Martin Strauss, my ex-boyfriend. He contacted basically everybody that I knew to say that like I wasn't, what was I not, like I flew to Rhode Island to help some couple with like I was like investigating whether or not the state was taking away their child unfairly. And it turns out like, yeah, they experienced some corruption and some police brutality, but also they were kind of crazy people. And so like, it kind of made sense why their child was being taken, unfortunately, even though I'm very,
good Lord.
That's why you flew there to investigate. Right.
I flew there to investigate, and I spoke to like the state senator of Rhode Island. I spoke to the entire school board. I spoke to the police officers who arrested them. I spoke to everybody, and I found out like, yes, they had some corruption against them, but they also contributed to the issue. And I tried to explain this to them, and my producer was just like, no, you have to be on their side. You have to fight for them. Like, screw you. Like, I'm going to like sue you. I'm going to help this couple sue you. I'm going to prevent you from ever being a licensed attorney. I'm going to like, he just came after, and then he stole all my money. He took my YouTube channel, which is monetized at the time, and he demonetized it.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He took it and then made it stop making money. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then he deleted some of my videos. He like reorganized my channel in a way, and like he had some of my passwords and stuff, so I didn't know how to undo it. And yours is like 1,000 times worse, like what you went through. And I remember thinking mine was the end of the world. I was like, oh, no one's ever had a worse relationship.
Well, the thing about he was really fair almost all the time. And then I was getting wildly disproportionate money for the amount of work that I was doing. So that is totally true. Like he went on and acted like I was trying to 77 cents him and like everything like that. But we built the podcast together, and it was always the agreement that I would be his sidekick. And after all, we had all these interpersonal problems. I just kind of checked out. People are like, what happened 4 years ago? I'm like, well, and so we should have dealt with it at the time, but instead I just kind of.
Is he doing okay now with his shitty podcast by himself? Or
I'm sure he's going to do fine. A lot of people want to hear daily news from people like Tim Pool. They just do. So I think he's going to do great probably after this.
Tim Pool still has the Tenet Media issue as well. And he definitely has his own problems going on. I think I don't know. So,
yeah.
Well, you're not wrong to, want to be paid fairly. Howard wouldn't be Howard without Robin.
I was not being paid.
Well, yeah, I hate Howard now. He sucks now, but
but it wasn't about the money. Like I was not getting paid fairly. I was getting paid way more than I should have. But if he would have just come to me and been like, I'm having financial problems.
Right.
Can we renegotiate? I would have been like, yeah, I would have been like, that's cool. That's fine.
The problem though is this shit talking after you guys broke up. Like that's my major issue. And then it was really bad. And then telling you what you can and can't do, and like monitoring you. The whole thing just sounds horrid. Like, and I'm really sorry that you went through that.
Yeah, weird. I really was pushing it though. If you were watching the podcast, like I've said a lot of shit.
But that's hardcore. That's cool.
What's like the worst thing you've said?
Which thing?
You said you mean like you said a lot of shit. Like I thought you meant like about him.
Oh no.
Like hard R, all that stuff.
No hard R. No hard R.
Were you
Hard
like,
R adjacent? Yeah.
were you out there before the podcast? Like, were you kind of like crazy energy prior to starting with him? Is that why he made you the co-host?
Oh yeah, I used to have a lot more energy especially about the news cycle.
Then what the hell? Why?
Well, it was my fault. I totally lost interest in doing this, and then we just never
were you
like
saying like the hard R. Were you being as like aggressive and like verbose prior to partnering with him?
Oh yeah. But I've grown. I've definitely gone further right over the few years. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't like this guy. I'm gonna.
I think it was both of our fault for sure, though. I mean,
it sounds like you grew apart.
Yeah.
And,
but I mean, 9 years in podcasting terms is like an eternity.
That is a
and
lot.
he's not very smart financially if he's getting himself into trouble.
Tenet
In my
Media.
opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't start making big decisions like that as soon as before the ink even dries. You gotta
Yeah. Yeah.
gotta wait a minute.
Oh,
and maybe it's like you, and it sounds like you didn't want to talk to him about, oh, how can I do more content or how can we do more content that interests me? Because by the time you were there, maybe you were just kind of over it.
Yeah. And then when I guess what we should have done this last time is really renegotiated the terms. And so I was like, well, can I pick half the topics? And he's like, you can't be trusted to do any of the work. I'm like, but we've been working together. We've been working together for 9 years. Like you could be like,
trusted.
Why don't we try this for a little while and see if it works out? But he fiercely defends creative control. Like he acted like I never brought him any ideas. And truthfully, I probably didn't. But what am I supposed to say? Like I can't talk about race issues with any real gusto.
If you're the sidekick, is it your job to bring the ideas then?
Well, I think that what we should have done is I shouldn't have been making half the money from the beginning. But we didn't think it was going to go anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
But this isn't some crazy financial endeavor. Like when you look at the money that Tim Pool makes, I think he makes like $10 million a year or something.
Is he quitting?
He makes
I don't know. Probably not. He knocked some chick up on a show, didn't he?
No.
During
his
it?
wife.
No, that's wild.
Not
On the
his
air.
girlfriend. I think his girlfriend is pregnant. And
I thought she was like a host on the show. To be clear, I do not watch SimpCast almost ever.
Yeah, he has a girlfriend that
think
he's been
it's
with
his
for literally. It's his girlfriend, and they've been together for like literally years, like many, many years.
Why has he been with his girlfriend for many years? And she's
some
pregnant?
people don't. Yeah, I know.
Some people are together. We know so many people that are together like 10 plus years that just never get
Look
married.
at Missy and Anthony. They just they just who needs it? Not everybody needs the.
My parents didn't get married till I was 5. So
Can somebody? Why do people do this? I don't understand. I don't understand it.
I don't know.
I'm not technically married, but he's way older and we didn't want kids. So was it?
That makes sense.
I shredded our marriage license. I never even sent it in. So I just wanted the party.
Look at you, little libertarian.
Amazing, guys. That's not.
All right,
it's
some
not
people in
true.
the chat are asking questions. Rebecca had a show with a guy named Matt Christiansen. It was every Sunday. And what was the name of the show again? That you did?
The Matt and Blonde show. Sorry, I was reading these chats.
And they broke up basically, and Matt was also involved with Tenet because someone was asking about Tenet Media. Tenet Media, I guess Matt was on that sort of network, and that network consisted of, I think, like Lauren Chen, Benny Johnson, Tim Pool,
Taylor Hansen, Ruben. Did we forget anybody?
That might be the main squad. And then I guess it was people found out, what was this, couple months ago, that the Chens may have been taking some money from, I guess, I don't know, someone Russian.
Yeah, but I don't know. That seems something. I know Lauren, and that just seems like she would never do something like that. So I have to think that it was the government that was trying to discredit these kind of normie conservative,
That's
commentators.
Possible. Yeah, and again, we don't know because we haven't heard from Lauren yet. So it's all just, I don't know.
I hope she's doing okay. Jeez.
I hope she is doing okay too. I don't really know the full story, I guess, until we hear from her. The Beacon Matt went off on Blonde so bad last week.
Oh, it was so bad. It was 4 hours. So people are going to criticize me for like telling my end. But how long did that take? 8 minutes? 5 minutes? He was on for 4 hours last week. And it was just like he's taking calls about me and all this. It was so bad.
Do you think he's mad? Yeah, maybe.
Well, people love drama. And who knows? Maybe he was milking it for content. I don't know. I don't know this person, but I know people do love drama. So
I don't know, but it just seems like statements are the way to go when things like this break up. Like, is going on a stream with somebody really a courtesy to your audience? Like, we were both so mad.
Yeah, I mean, if he thought he could make money from it, from talking about it, then yeah, that's reason enough.
Well, this did turn out to be about money. That is just the irony. He's making it seem like I quit because of the money, but it wasn't that at all. I wish he would have come to me in a different way.
You lost interest. Like if you guys had talked like, hey, I feel like you're a little checked out. What can we do to make it more interesting for you? Something like that.
Something like that. And then if he was like, I'm having a hard time after this Tenet thing. Would you mind, if I took 70% of the money, 80% of the money? And I would have been like, okay. And then I would have tried to do more of the topics to regain some of my interest. And then we would have renegotiated. But it was just like so explosive. And this is so crazy because the difference between like 50 and 60% is only like $6 or $7, something like that, $1,000 a year. And so that's what this imploded over, like that amount of money, which is not a game-changing amount of money for most people. Well, maybe, but people that are not primary earners in their family. But it's not like a total game changer for my financial situation. So I just can't believe that it fell apart over this amount of money. It's like, it seems so stupid. But I wish we would have dealt with it offline. The whole thing is gross, like feels gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, people do like drama. There wouldn't be reality television. And I'm the first person to watch it. That's why, he talks about it for 4 hours because it probably gets the views. It's, yeah.
Jonathan Prezione, I miss you, Blonde. Stop this fighting. OMG, I wanted you to be friends with Chrissy, but not like this. What?
What? I don't think this is that big of a deal. I mean, after the stream last week, do people really think that I like brought the drama? I mean, I'm just on like how many people are watching right now? Not that many.
You should do your own 4-hour stream.
I don't know. I just can't. I'm so exhausted.
For a stream like that, and like I think of the times I've had to do something like that, it's because I felt like people were very confused on the details where I really had to break something down.
Right.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was more kind of all-encompassing than a statement. And sometimes I had to match it up with videos and things that the other person said, and I really had to do like a lot of timestamps.
But that's gross. Like it's gross to air things like this. You read my statement. I thought it was pretty neutral, and then he came on and it was just like absolutely vicious, personal. And even after that, I don't think I said almost anything for like a week.
Were you not expecting that? You were just thinking like he will just be a chill, normal dude.
No, I thought he was going to release a statement like I did. Like I thought that was going to be the end of it. But he was saying like I scooped how he wanted to end the show. But I was like, no,
fucker! Oh my god!
Well, he wanted to end the show.
It's like your life. Like, does he control your social media posts?
He controls her apologies. He makes her write them with a quill. And
seriously. But the whole thing was just so disappointing. Like you work with somebody and then it just ends up all to be about money, like small amounts of money. I'm
like a divorce.
Yeah, it was like getting divorored. Like I'm having weird dreams every night that he and his wife are trying to kill me and stuff. I'm like waking up
Jesus.
like, what the fuck?
Oh no.
Yeah. Like I can't sleep. And it's really bizarre, but I feel so betrayed. But I don't know. I think everybody's over it. And luckily the mindset of people online is like, once something has been in the news for a week, even this Tenet thing, that was a huge deal. I mean, didn't they allude to it at the debates? That was over in 2 to 3 weeks. And now everyone's like, Lauren Chen, who? And she was a huge figure in here. So I don't think that anybody really cares about like my podcast breakup. It happened a week ago. So
some people care. I think, the people that watch you, they just want to know your honest opinion of what happened. And then they'll take his honest opinion of what happened. And then people can decide for themselves.
But it shouldn't be like this I'm taking sides thing. Like, I think fundamentally we just disagree about a lot of racial issues and about constitutional conservatism. And I lost zest for the show. But I kept doing it because I kept thinking like maybe things will improve, and neither of us wanted to have a confrontation. It's how it goes with a relationship too.
What I know nothing about this, unfortunately. What is his nationality? Is he like
He's a pretty standard white guy.
Oh, he's just a
Standard issue.
That's racist.
Not for nothing. I just
So no,
yeah.
he's not a hard R. He's not a hard R.
No,
indeed.
Just wondering, like, I don't know. Did he get the wrong idea? If she's like saying the hard R, and it's like her co-host is like a lovely black man or something. Like,
no.
Wait, did you really say the hard R on your show?
I don't think so.
Are you on
I think
YouTube? On Rumble, you can say it on Rumble, no problem. Oh yeah, you can go all out. You can go.
I fear the R. You know, I fear it.
No,
I don't like to say it. Not because like I strongly disagree with the sentiment or anything like that, but it's like crass. It's like a crass, like class thing to say.
And people push it too hard.
They push it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need to say it.
Hard R though.
Only in the company of very close friends. Charles S. says, hey, Kiki, Courtney, and the rest of the panel. Blonde, great to see you. Sorry about the show breaking up. You guys had a good run.
It was a good run. That is true.
I'll never hear you read another Matt and I once made love chat. Lol. Oh,
I love Charles.
I know.
#1.
It is really, really sad. Yeah.
It's what happens. Jonathan Prezione. I don't understand, Blonde. How could you never talk to Matt again? I thought you were good friends with him and his wife. How come you do not want to work it out?
Well, it was always business first with him. So like a few years ago, I was like, I've only met him one time in real life. It's always been online. And that was in 2016. And so I was like, why don't we get our families together and we can go camping or something like that? And he's like, listen, I don't want to take our relationship into like the real world friendship zone.
Oh.
I know.
Wow. He's like, I don't
roast some marshmallows by a fire, and
he's like, I don't want to go there. So this thing of like, we confided in each other, and we have certainly a certain level of mutually assured destruction with each other and everything like that. But this thing of like, we were besties. Like he always treated me like I was an employee of his.
Think his wife was threatened by you?
No, she's
I don't
really
know
hot.
anything. I don't know anything about this.
I don't know anything about this, and I'm getting that vibe.
No, she's like really hot, and she's
But you're really
it's
hot.
okay.
Yeah,
No,
but
really hot.
she's way younger. I think she's like 32. I'm 37.
None of it matters. You're saying you guys were good friends, and she had a very strong opinion about like the show that she was not a producer or a host of.
Right.
I guess
you're
so.
a self-assured,
maybe he was
like that.
She was afraid of you
Yeah,
breastfeeding off camera.
Yeah,
because if he heard it, he might get a boner.
That is
She's obviously retarded.
Control your erection.
It could be
That's
him,
not
and that
on
could
her.
be him too. It could be him, like that self-hate.
He might have just blamed her for it too. But like these things might sound small to people on the outside, but they are really damaging to a working relationship.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.